Hello everyone, and welcome to the Game Design Archive with Edward and Ludwig. Today, we don't have a topic really, maybe, but we do have a very special guest. We have Boghog, the designer of Gunvein, Caramel Action, Red Pulse. Did I forget any? Yes, Mechanical Star Astra, right?
Yeah, but that's just the demo, so it doesn't count. You can't.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Boghog.
Soon to beat him up.
Yeah.
Unless I die, unless a truck hits me on the way to the store.
Not.
So,
yeah. So you are. Should we call you an arcade game designer, perhaps?
Yeah, well, arcade style. I haven't done one of those like Exa vanity, cab releases or anything yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. You haven't released an actual arcade machine.
Really? Yeah.
Maybe someday though.
Maybe, yeah. Exa, just give me a nice paycheck. I'll think about that.
Nice.
So those who watch our channel might know who you are, either because there's overlap between our channel and you, or because we've mentioned you a few times on the channel because we're fans of your game or your games. So maybe I don't know. Do we want to start talking a bit about your because I'm interested in the beat 'em up that you announced. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Been working on it for the past hour. The past year.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Maybe about the philosophy, or why you decided to make that game and so on.
Well, I made it's like an indulgence, dude. It's like an addiction. I'm a naughty boy because I was working in. Basically, what happened is I was working on Razion 2 with NG Dev a lot, and I didn't have as much time for my main ARM Decobot game, right? So I made a little beat 'em up. It took like a week to make a little beat 'em up prototype, and ever since then I was just sitting there and itching. I'm like, God, I feel like making a beat 'em up. I feel like making a beat 'em up. Just every day it was gnawing at me, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna take exactly a year, and I'm gonna make a beat 'em up. And if it's gonna be really simple and basic, that doesn't matter. I just have to get this out of my system. So that was the whole design process, basically, just getting getting that constant itch to design it.
Do you have
yeah, sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you have a time frame? Are you thinking how long do you think this project is going to take?
Well, it was supposed to be exactly a year. Now it's a little bit over a year, but I think it's going to be I'll release a demo probably next month, and then I should finish it around September or something like that. Because right now I have all the enemies done. I have 2 of the 3 playable characters fully done. I have the sound effects. I have the level structure. I just need bosses, better graphics, just music, stuff like that, menus, all that stuff. The main content is pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, I saw some of the enemies on your booth. They look nasty.
The enemies are demonic. They're evil. They're fucked up. Yeah, that's I'm calling it jokingly an enemy expression game, just because some developers put all their effort into making a shit ton of attacks. I did that as well, but for the enemies, not for the player.
Right.
Even the most basic little mooks have often 3-4 attacks.
Yeah. Awesome. Would you say that because I actually haven't played that many beat 'em ups. I've only played Final Fight a little bit.
Well, they play the best one, so
Yeah.
What more do you need?
And the thing I'm wondering is because usually, I shouldn't say usually, but modern beat 'em ups and modern fighting games and games related to them seem to be very, very complex. And I was surprised by how simple Final Fight was, in the player moveset and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're going for that as well here?
Exactly. I'm trying to basically the complexity is just going to be enemy behavior, enemy synergies, enemy attacks. Whereas the player moveset is basically Final Fight plus a couple of things. Well, it depends though. There's 3 characters. One of them is very Final Fight inspired. The other one is more of a ranged character, which is hopefully will be pretty unique, and a grappler, which is I don't know. That's going to be a weird character. So yeah, like I'm trying to scale back on the amount of moves and just keep it really simple, and then just yeah. Hopefully, the idea is that the enemy stuff will be so because you know what often happens is people play these beat 'em ups that are on the simple side, and unless it's like Final Fight, if they're playing like a simpler one, they're like, oh, this is kind of boring. You know, I'm like just punishing groups of enemies, but the problem is like the enemies aren't giving them enough input, you know. So of
Yeah.
course you'd get bored if the enemies aren't fucking doing anything. But then you play Final Fight, it's like you don't have time to worry about that shit because the enemies are just surrounding you. They're coming from all sides. They're doing their thing. And hopefully that's what I'm trying to do. Where it's like even someone who is usually into varied move sets will be so pressured by the enemies that they won't even have time to think about that. Like, oh, should I combo? I wish I could combo this guy. Like that thought ideally won't enter your mind because you know other enemies will be challenging you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. One thing that like I'm super interested in like the way you design things, and I'm sure you are as well, Edward. Is like how do you approach enemy design? And like to be clear, like both me and Edward are like programmers, so we do have some technical knowledge. So like if you can go into like technical details, that would be awesome as well.
You guys are probably better programming than I am. But it's like a design. Basically, the main thing is just well, for example, with caramel action, right? I started with I have a little. Actually, let me hold on. Let me try to find this because I have a little concept image that I that I came up with, which basically shows the design process. This is basically the whole game. I was playing it out. Yeah, and one of the first things I thought about is just like how do I get the enemies to checkmate the player, and how do I like, you know, you see on the top left corner, there's like the checkmate scenario, which is two enemies and opposite sides. Yeah, there's no way to like escape that. And then there's the there's the scenario where like the minimum viable scenario where the player can survive, where it's like just barely evading the checkmate. So I started with that, and then like I just all that stuff flew out of the checkmate, where it's like, okay, well, how do I squeeze the player in? How did the enemies move to make it more challenging? How did the enemy? And then, for example, if the player is hiding in a corner somewhere, because if you notice that if you're like stuck in some kind of corner somewhere, like an L shape, for example, these enemies can't really do anything to you. That's like a hard, you know, like that's a hard like checkmate in your favor, because as soon as they pass the corner, you can just shoot them. So it's like, okay, well, I'll need a counter to that. And at first I thought about having enemies spawn in from the top and jumping down and killing the player, but then eventually that system ended up being a little too complex for, because that was like basically a game jam type of project. So and then instead of that, I just added grenade enemies, which is a natural fit because like the, you know, like Rolling Bird, Rolling Thunder has grenade enemies, and ghosts, which could contest you in the corner. So it's always like, this is the player behavior. This is the how I want to uh, shut it down, counter it, and then like a lot of the enemy AI flows naturally from that.
Yeah.
Same with the beat 'em ups, right? Where it's like you check like, okay, so the players naturally disadvantaged when there's two enemies on opposite sides. So then you have to think about how to get them surrounding the player, like how to get them to move around. Or for example, because the player is always safe if they're like not on the same lane as the enemies in a beat 'em up, you have to like think, okay, how do I challenge that with diagonal attacks? But because, you know, because that safety is important, you got to make the diagonal attacks like an occasional gameplay element that's not like constant. Yeah. So there's like as soon as you figure out like how you pressure and counter and like checkmate the player, a lot of the enemy design kind of clicks into place, I think.
Would you say
Yeah.
you
Yeah, go ahead.
like, do you think very I don't know what word to use, like top down, I guess, like do you think about the enemies and then implement them, or do you like experiment
Oh no.
in the implementation as well?
Yeah, well, it's like I just have these general rules and then I experiment and then just play around with it. And I kind of let the enemies develop on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
usually, like, yeah, if you do two top down, there's the danger of just. I think that's basically how you get a lot of the mechanics, like, you know, fucking enemies doing colored attacks and shit. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I want the players to do exactly this,
Yeah.
and that's it. But you wanna like You want that shit to naturally emerge from thing
Yeah.
like spacing, that type of stuff. Oh yeah, that's another thing, right? So you have these mechanics and dynamics, uh, like the checkmates and stuff. But the important part is just making enemies work towards them via physical means. I think that's a big value for me. It's easy to like crowbar fucking dynamics that you want, like with the color coded shit.
Yeah.
But if you have to make the enemy work for it, you have to physically move them around and physically move like hitboxes, then that leads to a lot more like just you think more loosely. I don't know. It just opens up more depth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree. I think like one really good example of like, because you mentioned like colored attacks and stuff like that. But I think if you look at like Pragmata, that's like a perfect example of what happens when you do top-down design. Because they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna mash a kids puzzle game into this, and then they like didn't care about like how any of that would work. They just shoved it in and
Yeah, there's
let
no
it happen.
integration there at all. It's
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
yeah,
It's like two games. You would think, right? You would think like the most obvious thing for a game like Pragmata is just mapping the puzzle onto the terrain. It's like, oh, I can like reroute the like I
Oh
can use the
yeah.
hacking to reroute different
Yeah, like
energy
changing
paths.
stuff on the map and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's changing stuff on the environment. That's like
Yeah.
the most natural thing, especially since it has like that what's it called, like 3D printing theme, across
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole game.
hmm
Yeah, so it's like I wonder why they didn't do that because that's like the most intuitive way to develop it. But they, yeah, well, see that's the thing. If you think about it like through like I make the distinction between artificial properties and natural properties of different moves. Artificial stuff is like stats,
hmm
meters, stuff like that, and natural or physical properties are like hitboxes, movement, stuff like that, right? So if you just forbid yourself from using like artificial properties like stats and stuff like that, I feel like then you have to think about how your moves interface with the environment, with the enemies, stuff like that. Whereas with Pragmata, they put that shit all in the artificial layer. It's only in the artificial layer.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of stats, a bunch of like meters being emptied by the puzzle.
Yeah, one thing we often discuss, which is like very interesting when you look at a lot of mainstream games, is that like the way they design things is that they like design the problem and then they like implement the solution for that problem for the
Yeah.
player. So it's like they give the enemy like armor or something, and then they give the player an armor-piercing attack that you're supposed to use when the enemy has armor, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
Mark talks about that a lot, just like self-justifying. It's
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and some people point out that, oh, well, you could say the jumping is like that as well, because you create jumping and then you create pits and the jumps solve pits. But
Yeah.
there's like a distinction there where, like the distinction there is just like, well, I guess the distinction is the artificiality of it, where it's like
yeah,
just where it's not integrated into like the fundamentals, the physical elements of the
yeah.
game.
And I feel like
It's just
yeah, sorry,
yeah,
one
yeah,
part
go
of
on.
it is like the point of the mechanic is more than just having the mechanic there, right? If that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You'd
Um,
want it to be integrated somehow, like you just flow. Like it's like you view games in terms of layers, right? Where the fundamental layer is the most interconnected thing.
mhm,
Like for example, an attack hitbox, right? That depends on where you're standing, where the enemy's standing, like the timing. Everything is interdependent. The,
mhm.
the hitbox size, the length of the attack, the movement speed, all of that comes together to form like the outcome of whether you hit an enemy or not. Whereas with meters, it's like just this isolated little dynamic that
Yeah.
doesn't exist within like the web of the physical, the physical web of like the spacing and timing and all that shit. So
Yeah,
I think that's why it feels very much like a problem, like self-justifying. Like they add this thing because it's really easy to do that shit. It's like, oh, you just have the player perform a set amount of arbitrary actions and then just unlock the prop move properties. Like, okay, yeah, that's great game design, dude. That you're really fucking nailing that shit.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It feels like that's like how most designers that I've worked with elites are like doing it. It's very
It's a bit
very weird.
depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I my little theory is that like a lot of that stems from just the complexity of a team. Because you get like,
Oh
for
yeah,
example,
yeah.
I was thinking, right? Imagine you have to like just deliver a fucking design doc up front. You don't have the
Yeah.
time to like think through all the little physical nuances. You got to like think very top down in a way. You have to think
Yeah.
very like in modular ways and like top down.
Yeah, and I
I
mean
don't
it's
know.
like a team of 100 designers or something, right? And it's
Exactly. Yeah.
good luck.
Oftentimes, like yeah, with Pragmata, I was talking to Mark about this, and we were like thinking like, why the fuck didn't they test enemy leashing? And then we're like, okay, well, maybe the level designers and the enemy designers literally did not have
Yeah.
enough communication.
Yeah.
It's very possible, yeah,
Yeah.
with these team sizes. Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting. There was one thing I wanted to ask you about, like sort of related to what you talked about, like how what do you want to call it? Like how this interesting gameplay like comes from weird shit like hitboxes and stuff. So one thing that I find really interesting about the green enemy in Caramel Action is that like most of the time he is like completely harmless. Like you can like he doesn't have a hitbox, you can dodge the bombs easily, stuff like that. But then like when shit hits the fan and there's a lot happening, he's like one of the most dangerous enemies. Because like he can just like harass you from like long range and like put a bunch of bombs where you're supposed to go because you're like running away from someone else. And like that sort of like did you actually design with that in mind, or did you like I assume you like realized that after the fact or something?
Oh no, I did. I thought that immediately. That I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, because the whole idea is just it's like a nuisance. It's like blocking
Mm-hmm.
off your. A good example, I guess, would be just fast bullet. Like you guys both play shmups, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, yeah. Like a good example is just like riding bullets, which are fucking fast and designed to kill you, versus
Yeah.
like bullet hell bullets, which are like pressuring you and squeezing you into like the corner. So the green guy is basically like a bullet hell equivalent, where he's not really a danger,
Right. Yeah.
unless combined with other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very.
Yeah.
I've been playing Devil Daggers recently, and he's very similar
Oh,
to
hell.
like the second tier. You know, the one that just like flies around the arena aimlessly. Do you know what I'm
The
talking about?
which one was it?
The skull that like flies around aimlessly, not the one that
Oh,
follows you.
oh yeah. They're
Yeah,
like they're blocking off paths.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're just like there, and like they're not a threat until you're
Until it's yeah.
like completely surrounded, basically.
exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's like the classic aimed versus static dynamic, right? Where it's like just you pepper bullets all around the screen, then hope, and then like push the player into them
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
Yeah, and then the player's like, "Fuck, dude," because yeah, you have to like dodge the aimed stuff, which forces you to move, and then just like all the clutter that exists in the screen.
hmm yeah, and I guess it ties into a lot with like true checkmates that you talk about a lot, where it's
Yeah,
like, you know, if you would have killed that guy 10 seconds ago, you wouldn't have died to him now, but now you didn't, so now you're dead. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
And it's like just if there's two guys, they throw bombs next to each other, and you're like in a tight corner somewhere, and there's other guys you have to prioritize. There's literally nothing you could do, so you have to like think ahead and just clean up the area before things get too chaotic. That's the main thing, like the fucking checkmates, dude. That's like the thing. If there's anything I would want to stress, just in general, it's the fucking checkmates, because
yeah,
otherwise, like
Yeah.
just yeah, otherwise I feel like not only is there not only does it shift the gameplay to kind of like the skill games that checkmates test ultimately is just patience, because you can always reset the situation, you can always like run away, reposition, so it just comes down to like just not overextending.
yeah,
That's always going to come. Yeah, the main balancing quote unquote tool is that's fucking boring, so no one's going to play like that. But this still that's like the fundamental skill, and it has downstream effects, because then you just play kind of lazily. You're like, oh, you
Yeah.
don't think about situations a few steps ahead. You just think about them in the moment, and then just kind of deal with them as they come. And you see that a lot nowadays. You see a lot of fucking people complaining like Mina the Hollower or something, right? Where it's like even a slight the slight ability to get cornered is like just insane to people.
Yeah.
yeah.
You played
Yeah,
that Ludwig, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, like I played it for a very, very short while, and then I was like, and I stopped playing it. Have you played it a lot?
I played the demo a bit. I didn't play the full game yet.
Okay, because I beat like the first boss and then like I played a bit more. It's very interesting because it seems like they've like that game would have like if you don't count the like collectible Metroidvania RPG stuff.
dude, yeah.
But like if you look at like the core like combat, I feel like that game would have been fine if it weren't for the burrow, because that seems like a completely OP like
Yeah.
parry essentially, right? Because you can just dodge all damage.
Yeah, the devs have this like interview thing where they or like a devlog type of thing where they talk about that, and their idea is that the burrow is more like they specifically said that they don't like these kind of like parry dodge mechanics, but their problem is that they're instant. But I feel like all burrow does, at least from what I played and from what I've seen, is just like like it adds like input lag to your startup essentially.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah.
It felt like they were trying to make like a parry-based game, but then they realized the parry was too OP, so they just made it slow. But it's still a parry, right?
Yeah, it's still functionally very similar.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want to say. Oh, during the interview thing, right? During the like video, they specifically said that. Oh well, we want they were saying basically what we're talking about, like checkmates. They're like, oh, we want like consequences, physically to move around, but modern players still want to get out of situations nowadays. Like, okay, dude, then what the fuck was the point of you just talking about that just now?
Yeah.
And they apparently there's like a parry later in the game or something like that. So they even added that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot actually, and like it's an issue that people seem to think that like actually interesting situations like that where you can, not to get out anymore is for somehow unfair or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they kind of that's the fucking thing with the modern conception of fairness, right? Where
Yeah,
it's like they are
exactly.
unfair because fairness is just like basically it's like could I beat this first try? And if
Right,
the game is having checkmates, then you probably couldn't, because you need to build that intuition of like I need to avoid this situation. I need to avoid that situation. Like I need to do this in advance. You have to like build the knowledge and intuition ahead of time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. So I guess it is kind of unfair. The most fair game is just a game where you can fucking get out of any situation, like Bayonetta, basically. If you can time dodges in Bayonetta, then you're fucking invincible. Not, like it doesn't matter. You could be in the worst position ever, and you're still gonna be. I was thinking, right? What does it take for Bayonetta to get checkmated? And it would be like the most contrived situation ever. You'd need like multiple overlapping projectiles. Then you need to exhaust all 3 of your dodges, and then you not have bat within equipped and not have the parry. So it's like the most it's like the most fucking complex thing ever to just make sure that you can actually get hit if you're good at dodging.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this fairness obsession is very interesting, because well, both me and Edward have played quite a lot of like competitive multiplayer games, and I still play quite a bit of CS. And it's very interesting because like in Counter-Strike, like I would say you can get checkmated quite often. Like that's kind of what you're doing in Counter-Strike. Like if you've peeked someone the wrong way, you're dead before you're dead, right? Because you peeked them the wrong way.
Yeah, or like if two guys approach from different directions or something.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think in FPS it's interesting because the visibility is a big source. Like that's the limitation where a lot of the checkmates can come from.
Yeah, and the thing I find interesting is that like in multiplayer games, it seems like people are way more fine with being outplayed, I guess. Like because they're being outplayed by a real person, so they're actually being outplayed or whatever. But like when the AI outplays you, that's BS and the game is bad or whatever.
There's none of that. It's like less entitlement basically in multiplayer games because the human on the other side.
Yeah, I mean you do still have a bit of that because people will like accuse people of being cheaters and stuff like that. But like
not just that, but then like complain about lame play or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Sweats or whatever they say.
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, but it's very interesting because like I think CS is an especially interesting game because it's so popular, but it's still good, right? Because it's basically like a 2D Mario, right?
Yeah.
And like it's very interesting because like in multiplayer games, it seems like people are way more fine with being outplayed, I guess. Like when the AI outplays you, that's BS and the game is bad or whatever. But like when the AI outplays you, that's like very similar to what it was 30 years ago. Um, and so there are these like, you know, old school design things that you would never have in a modern game. And the thing I find interesting is that like a lot of the people who play CS are like hyper casual gamers, like they basically play CS once a week or whatever. Like that's
like
all
a
the gaming they do.
Slavic dad, you know.
Yeah,
From
exactly.
work.
But the people who play those games are like, in my mind, they're actually more interested in games and gameplay than, you know, someone who's grinding World of Warcraft 10 hours a day, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like the ball and gun gamer, you know, where it's like people constantly shit talk, but ultimately they're a lot more. They're usually often a lot more interested in like the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
Like it's like a lot of these like kind of mid-core players, you know, where they're like, oh yeah, I'm all about the gameplay, and then you watch what they play. They play fucking vibe games that are just completely busted.
Yeah.
And they're like just fucking role playing and stuff. Yeah, well, the like the competitive thing kind of numbing people to checkmates is kind of interesting, because I feel like that you can almost take advantage of that in single player, but I don't know exactly how. But it's like, you know, it's like you know how, for example, in survival horror games, people accept the idea of you being disempowered and just slow, and you know, even getting stuck in a way. It's like, oh, of course, just manage resources properly. So it's like if you frame it right, people feel like the way I think a good way to phrase is like, if they're like, oh, why does this work like that? The answer should be like, well, look at it, dumbass. Like, why does this guy move so slowly? It's like, well, look at him. He's giant, like fucking meg thing or something, you know, like Raiden and Ninja Warriors once again or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's same with the multiplayer. It's like, well, this was unfair. It's like, what do you mean unfair? It was another human just like you on the other end. So
yeah, exactly.
like it's almost like coming up with like a stick to beat the player with, you know, where when they start complaining, you whip out the fucking punishment stick and just fucking, what are you talking about, motherfucker?
Yeah, it's so interesting though, because like for me personally, when I like start most games these days, it's like, and I remember, what was it you were playing, Ludwig? Oh, you were playing the Eugenics.
No, it was Menace. Have you heard of it, Boghog?
Which one?
Menace. It's a like sci-fi tactics game.
Oh no, I haven't.
No, well, basically, I'm just assuming what you want me to say now, because it's like a good story. Yeah. There was like, so it has like generated missions, with like, it has like a random pool of objectives that you can have, and then it generates the map from those objectives and stuff like that. And what I found really interesting was that like there was one type of mission where the like mission, like it wasn't bugged, it was just like poorly designed. So basically there was a mission where there were like high value targets that couldn't die to the enemy, so you needed to like rush and save them, but the high value targets could spawn way closer to the enemy, so the enemy, like there was literally nothing the player could do to save those guys, because the player was spawned too far away and the enemies like were one turn away and could just kill them. And I sort of realized that, because I saw a lot of people complaining about it on like Discords and Steam forums and stuff, like, oh yeah, this is bad design and blah 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 blah. And like, obviously it's not good that like the mission generation is bugged. Like if their intention is not for it to work that way, that's bad. But like, I still found it very interesting, because like, yeah, it's kind of weird and janky and broken, but that makes me like seriously consider which missions I take, because it's like a traditional roguelike map with like pick 3 missions. And so I see like, oh, it's that objective. Okay, well, I could be lucky and get a good spawn for the high value target, or I could get unlucky and get fucked. So maybe I shouldn't take that mission.
There's like risk assessment.
Like obviously from like a bug and stuff like that, but like it's very interesting, because if I like go back to me playing games like 5-10 years ago, I would not think that way. I would be in the like school of, yeah, that's BS, they should fix it.
Yeah. Well, have you played Into the Breach?
Yeah.
Do you know that like unfair mode? What was it called? Unfair, insane? What was it?
Is it whatever, like a difficulty or whatever?
Yeah, they added a difficulty like years later, right? Years down the line. And apparently, I haven't played it yet, but I'm really
Mm-hmm.
excited to watch some runs and stuff. So apparently, what they did is they made it so, because the original game, right? It's balanced. Even hard mode is balanced around you like never taking like damage to your buildings.
Yeah.
Whereas with the hardest mode that they added, it's actually often unavoidable. You'll have
Mm-hmm.
to take damage, so it's all more about like when do you take damage and how do you like try to like minimize it, right? It's more about like risk minimization, and I think that that's exactly what the game needs, because otherwise it feels too much like a kind of like a pre-solved puzzle essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Another another interesting thing, because if you think about like this historically, right? If you think about like modern games, like oh, fairness, but if you think about this historically, think about fucking solitaire or something, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
most solitaire games. Not only can you get unwinnable games, but it's a
Yeah.
fucking skill to recognize when a game is unwinnable. You have to
Yeah.
like consciously actually think about like, am I just dumb or am I dumb or is this game actually unwinnable? Like that's an actual skill you develop over time. So like historically, this whole fairness thing, it just seems kind of like ideally you could get those kind of risk minimization dynamics without the unfairness, but it's like you're using fucking RNG. Luck is gonna be a
Yeah.
factor. It's just gonna happen. Like you can't avoid that shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. As long as it leads to interest in dynamics, I feel like it's worth something at least.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
for
well, I
sure.
mean,
We're definitely fans of RNG stuff. We talk about it a lot as well.
yeah.
Like
Have
heavy
you
RNG stuff.
yeah, have you heard of Blood Bowl?
Blood Bowl. Isn't that the sports?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
American
Yeah,
football.
yeah. I've heard of it. I haven't played it though.
It looks way more boring than it is. Like it's actually super interesting.
So it's like a from what I remember, it's like a tactics football game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
American football.
but the thing is, like, it's insanely heavy on the RNG,
Yeah.
like comically heavy on the RNG. Like you can have your guys randomly trip and fall and die.
They
Jesus
can
Christ.
die. Yeah.
And
And your turn ends if that happens. So
Yeah,
you don't get
exactly.
to do any more moves. So it's like
yeah,
super...
but it's like really interesting.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it like in an episode 1 or 2 weeks ago. It's like, because it has this turnover system where basically if you fail a roll, I don't think it's all rolls, I don't remember, but it's like a few critical rolls. Like
Yeah.
if you try to attack an enemy and you fail the roll, you lose the turn and the turn goes over to the enemy and
It
stuff
depends
like
how hard you lose, I think.
that. And so it becomes this very interesting like risk management puzzle where it's like
Like the order of how you do
Yeah,
the actions
exactly.
is important as well, because you want to
Oh,
do
yeah,
the
yeah,
less
okay.
risky actions first, right? Yeah.
so you
Yes,
might have something like really important that you want to do, but you don't want to do it first because if you fail that, you can't do anything else. But you also might want to do it first because you might fail one of the other things, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It becomes very interesting.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes like it's like do the attacks like reposition enemies or something like that?
Yeah,
Like if there's
yeah.
some kind of like if there's some kind of synergies with that type of shit, like you push an enemy into this position that lets you attack better.
Yeah.
That's even an interesting trade-off, because then you're like, okay, maybe I can, if I do this early, then I can set up this attack into and this attack.
Yes.
Then but you can fucking fail. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
With turn-based games especially, because at least with action games you have that like layer of execution and consistency. It's helping create uncertainty. So something I've been thinking about is like I framed it as kind of like the aura the enemies have in games, or the easiest way to think about this in like fighting games, where if you want to go for like if you want to go for a grab, there's like a fucking force field around the other player, right? Because you don't know when they will do like a jab or fucking do something, and there's like that psychological hesitation of you not being able to get as close as you want, like because if you practice like grabs and throws, like fucking Zangief's SPD or some shit in practice mode, you can get it very consistently because you can always walk up at a specific distance or something like or combos. You can initiate them from a very specific distance, really close up. But in a real match, usually you don't know what the player is going to be doing, so you're like pushed away, right? And that creates those kind of like risk dynamics by itself.
Yes.
Just that psychological fear. And the same shit happens in single player games. But that like for example in beat 'em ups, you have in Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, you have a run. You have a really strong run. But if you start running, and release the release the inputs, right? You will just keep running in the same direction. So to cancel the run, you have to turn around real quickly.
Ah,
You have to
okay.
like tab back and forward, but then that creates a little bit of a delay. So and then a good thing to because enemies back up pretty effectively, what you want to do oftentimes is like do a short run, cancel it, and just start jabbing them. But because enemies can just randomly start jab you back, you kind of start to hesitate, and this creates kind of like a repellent effect that like you feel like you can't get quite as close to enemies as you'd want, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that like execution barrier plus RNG uncertainty creates a lot of risk reward in
Yeah.
action games that you get in. Yeah, whereas with turn-based games, you need more explicit RNG. I feel like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you
Really too
say,
much.
because I haven't played the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, would you say that like forces the player to commit way more to their like movement or like be way
Oh,
more
less. I think less. It's
less?
like,
Okay.
yeah, you're like more hesitant to commit to moves that like you're like, okay, well, this is clearly the best thing to do, but I'm not 100% sure that it'll work because of like both the input and the RNG. So I'll do something a bit safer, so
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That's why
Oh,
it's like
okay.
a force field that
Mm.
repels you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A very mental thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, with commitment, you can have that as well. Though, yeah, like if you have like a high commitment attack, you're going to be just you'll have to like what do I want to say? But yeah, well, the input versus output RNG distinction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that a lot when it comes to like beat 'em ups or just a lot of these action games, and I was thinking about that shit with regards to uh, move startup frames and recovery because like input RNG is from what my understanding is like the RNG that's like informs your decision, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
output RNG is RNG that gets applied to your outcome. Like once you make a decision, then like like a good example would be like crits or misses or some shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a good example of how they merge together in beat 'em ups is just that once you commit, you don't know exactly what the enemies will do because that will be output RNG essentially.
Yeah.
You could be in a situation where you're it's like okay, the enemy's right in front of me, I can do this like high commitment attack and then hit the enemy. So that could be like the correct thing to do in the moment, but because there's multiple enemies next to you that could randomly potentially move into your into the position and hit you during that like the attack, that becomes kind of output RNG-ish and it starts merging because now the output is the input that you use to decide if you're going to commit or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's fully related, but I thought that's kind of an interesting way to think about the two types of RNG in action games.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I just had like an perhaps interesting thought. So like you know how in XCOM and games like it, people complain about the RNG all the time.
Yeah,
Um, like this is maybe a bit random, but like, would you consider like so let's say you have this typical scenario where it's like, oh, you have a 99% chance to hit the enemy and then you miss. Crap. Um, like, wouldn't that technically be like a true checkmate scenario? Like, I've never looked at it that way, but I just realized that now. Um, like, I don't know
maybe.
if this makes sense
I
connected to
think
what you
I
just
think
said,
I
but like,
think I think that's like no, I think I wouldn't because what it is just a failure, right? Whereas with checkmates, it's like you have no viable moves left. Like it's like
yeah,
it's like
true.
it's like you're looking at your options and you have nothing left. Whereas with this, it's like you picked an option and the option failed. That's the distinction there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
would
which
say it's like when like half of your team has died, that's when you're in the checkmate situation in XCOM,
exactly, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
it's
okay.
like, yeah, literally, at that point, it's like you don't have any viable options left. You might as well
Hmm.
just restart. Yeah, with
Yeah.
strategy games, it's really obvious because often, like, you'll just have, if you're especially playing against another player, you just like cancel you're just give up basically
Yeah.
after a certain point. There's a cleanup phase, and that the checkmate stuff is important because it implies the slow accrual of advantage and disadvantage, or like initiative,
Hmm.
as it's called in chess, where it's like just uh, it's like the tipping point where the opponent's advantage like just the opponent gets so much advantage that there's nothing you can do anymore to win back
Yeah.
control. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's like Yeah, and that's like the two keys. You need the gradual advantage and disadvantage accrual and checkmates, because
Yeah.
otherwise they won't lead anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really like one of the most interesting parts with RTSs
Yeah.
is that like people seem to be fine with checkmates in them, or maybe not actually now that I think about it, because modern RTSs try their best to like stop those situations from happening by
No
like
one
adding
plays
comeback
modern
mechanics
RTS
and
though.
stuff.
Ooh,
So
everyone's
what?
fucking playing Age of
Yeah,
Empires 2
everyone's
nowadays.
playing
Yeah,
the old ones.
true,
You
true.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting how those games are famous for being like, oh yeah, you lose like 5 minutes before you actually like your base is
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking. There's some bit of Artosis streaming, and he lost because he positioned like a building. I don't remember like the specific, especially since I don't play Brood War,
Mhm.
but he like positioned a base in a slightly wrong spot, and he's like, "Fuck,"
Yeah.
he's like, "It's
It's
over,
over.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking over." Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like once because but that's a good thing because it's like okay,
Yeah.
it is half a good thing and half a bad. The good part of it is that every action in a game has meaning, and you want that
Hmm.
shit. You really want that. Keith Bergen has uh, like a he wrote a book called I think Clockwork Game Design or something like that, and he has a blog. And at one point he posted something that really that I thought really it was really good, like a good way to sum up the whole like checkmate advantage stuff. He said something like uh, every action in a game should lead towards its conclusion.
Hmm.
I think that's a great way of looking at it because like no action should be neutral or wasted.
Hmm.
Yeah, but then of course the problem is once you have like two players optimizing the shit out of it, at that point like every tiny unoptimal like move can just completely wreck your game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
It's like
think it has to be that way, right? Because one thing that I find very interesting when I like discuss game design with people is that a lot of people seem to say things like, "Oh yeah, I really want the like actions of the player to matter," and then the
Right.
other second they will say like, "Oh,
yeah,
but yeah, you should be able to parry all the time because
Yeah.
it's unfair if you can't get out of a
yeah,
sticky situation." And it's like, yeah, but you have to be
yeah. One
able
leads to the
to,
other.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
if you add the parry, then you completely invalidate everything you did before.
yeah. And in
Um,
fucking action games, people are like, "Oh, dude, I won my fast movement, and I hate super armor and that type of shit." It's like, well, the reason the fucking super armor has to exist is because the enemies have literally no room to breathe. They literally
mhm.
cannot escape your fucking clutches at any time.
Yeah.
So you need like yeah, people just want everything. They can't like
Yeah,
take game design as like pros and cons. They want like just the fucking pros of everything
yeah,
somehow, just choking it out, you know?
yeah. Yeah, well, the thing I wanted to like point out is that like I think that's the reason why RTS games are so strategic, or rather, well, it depends on how you define it. But anyways, so like because everything leads to like a checkmate situation in a way, it becomes like super strategic compared to like other games.
Yeah.
And like as I said with like modern RTSs are super boring. They're like one of the worst types of games that I've ever played. And the reason for that is that like they're adding all these like combat mechanics and they're like slowing the game down and they're making your actions not matter and so on and so on. So it's very
Yeah, I feel like the if the goal is to just remove the whole, like the cleanup phase or whatever,
mhm,
the phase where you're checkmated but still gotta keep playing, just make them fast, like to make the rounds faster or something like
yeah,
that,
Yeah.
instead of just yeah, instead of removing the dynamics. It's like with beat 'em ups, right? With beat 'em ups, my gripe is often that once you get enemies into a corner, it's like, oh, whatever. Does like at that point you're just like kind of mashing a button and standing still. It doesn't like there's no meaningful gameplay
mhm,
happening. But the
Yeah.
solution to that isn't to like add fucking combos or whatever to make that part more exciting or something, or to add
mhm,
super armor. It's just to give them less health. So once you won, you just get that shit out of the way, clean it up, and fucking move to the next encounter.
yeah,
Or like Street Fighter 2, right? Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo versus some newer fighting games where it's like, okay, yeah, you know, you die, you can potentially die from like one nasty hit, especially if you get like dizzy. But the rounds are so fucking quick. The game is so fast that it doesn't matter. It's not like you're not sitting there in like a 10-second combo watching a fucking cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like just speeding that shit up. I feel like is sufficient instead of just trying to comeback mechanics, all that bullshit.
For sure.
Yeah, no. Like, since we play like a lot of multiplayer games, as I said, we are number one haters of comeback mechanics. Holy crap, they are like everywhere nowadays, and it's.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
sort of moved the goalpost as well, right? We
Yeah.
talked about that, where like they add these comeback mechanics to create what they call moments or whatever, that were actual
hype.
moments before, but they're not anymore because now that's like
Yeah, yeah.
part of it. So it
Yeah.
ruins the
combo
moment.
problem is literally everywhere as well. That's literally the whole fucking thing with combo. It's like, you know, first, good players can actually pull out these pretty tricky combos consistently.
Yeah.
And that makes it hype. But then if you reduce the execution and make them more consistent by like, you know, fucking reducing pushback, just doing a lot of the stuff like walking forward, then they just stop being hype. At that point, it's just like a normal part of gameplay.
Exactly.
It's mundane.
Yeah.
Mundane. Yeah.
Yeah,
Self-defeating.
it's very interesting because I was playing Deadlock when it came out a little bit, and that game is like Comeback Mechanic Central Deluxe or whatever. Because like, I mean, they kept making it worse with updates as they often do with multiplayer games. But it's very interesting how like it's like built into that game that like the losing team comes back at least a little bit every round, and like it was very clear to me that like holy crap, this is boring because. If there weren't any comeback mechanics in these games, the rounds would be like 30 minutes long, and now they're like 1 hour and 20 minutes long. It's like it becomes such a slog. It's absolutely terrible.
Right, and it's not interesting either because it's not actually a comeback in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
like interesting
It's like delaying
sense.
the
Yeah, it's just
inevitable,
making it. It's just lengthening the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, it just seems like the fucking opposite. Just get more losses happening quicker. That's it. I feel like players will appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like if you actually wanted epic moments or whatever you want to call them, you would do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Because I was actually discussing this with someone. We were like comparing getting a kill in Call of Duty to getting a kill in Counter-Strike, and how like getting a kill in Counter-Strike feels 100 billion times better. And I basically came to the conclusion that the reason for that is that getting a kill in Counter-Strike is actually pretty hard compared to COD.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is that like because it's hard, like even mundane things become impressive in a way. Now obviously getting a kill in CS isn't very impressive, but like getting an ace in CS, that's super impressive, right? And the reason that's impressive is because it's like so hard and so rare, and so making these like epic moment things more common actually makes them less epic, if that makes sense.
Well, because it's all relative. It's not
Yeah.
like the fucking games are like there's any meaning to that shit. It's just like constructed environment. So like the only meaning that exists is relative to itself.
Mhm.
That's the only one. So if something's hard relative to other stuff, then it's going to be more exciting.
Yeah.
If you make it, the easier you make it, the more mundane it becomes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting because, as I said, like if you look at Deadlock, that game is have you played Deadlock?
Nope. No. I
No,
haven't.
that game
I'm
is
like
a
completely
slog.
out of the loop.
Yeah.
The only game I've been playing this fucking year is like TGM2, and and then it's just occasionally some other stuff now and then, but it's mostly in the fucking TGM2 dungeons.
What is TGM2?
Tetris Grandmaster 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting because you play a lot of like
Action
is the
puzzle.
term action puzzle
Yeah.
games?
Yeah. Actual puzzle games.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I got into them over a year ago. I was always like kind of interested, and I played them a little bit, but over a year ago, I really got into that shit. After playing Catherine, there's a side mode called Babel, which is basically just an arcade puzzle game, and that mode is fucking awesome. Like, you know what? I gotta play more arcade puzzle games. Always wanted to, and I just been playing them a lot.
Yeah, actually, is that mode better? Like, should you play? Because I remember even died Ludwig. We tried to play Catherine, and we got bothered by how many. Like, what was it? You had to redo
the
story sections.
The pillow. Yeah, the pillow system is a fucking abomination,
Yeah.
dude. I hate
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not like that. But you'll have to get a save file because you have to unlock them via
Right.
story progress.
Ah, okay.
So, but if you get a save file, it's really good because there's no lives there. It's just like you climb, and oftentimes it's like a 15 to 30 minute climb, and the it's like randomized, so it's not just the same set solution.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to like just you know like push blocks on the fly, think about what you're doing, stuff like that. It's exactly like an arcade puzzle game, just slightly reframed.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
That one is the multiplayer is fucking amazing. I'm shocked there's no clone of that. Someone's got to make like a clone rollback because the multiplayer is fucking awesome, dude.
Do you compete?
Yeah, you directly compete. You like set up traps for each other. You can do like a little bit of a fighting game dynamic where if a player is below you, you're like trying to guess where they're gonna go, and you can like just knock them down. Do like a little fucking knocked combos where you like fall onto them several times and just make them just fall. So then you can like pull and push blocks from beneath them. You can like trap them on little islands. You can set up all kinds of shit. It's fucking awesome, dude.
That sounds cool.
Nice. Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's really unique and
So I was wondering actually in relation to like action puzzle games, because I have played a lot of non-action puzzle games.
Yeah.
And I'm like wondering what is it specifically with action puzzle games that's like interesting to you?
well, it's just I like the thing that well it depends. I like formulaic puzzle games, like the ones that like more like fuck. That's a good example. Just fucking Minesweeper or something. Stuff that where it's not like where you're thinking through a system that has consistent rules and stuff like that, right? But the problem with those games is that oftentimes the more complex they get, the more you're just like the more you get those moments where you're just kind of stuck. You're like brute forcing shit, right? You're just like looking around the board and you're like, oh fuck, where's this word? There's not much at that point. There's not much like critical thinking happening. It's just literally trying to notice stuff at that point, like trying to notice the next step. Same with like a lot of solitaire. I've been playing Zachtronic's Solitaire Collection, and that has like, because solitaire still, the Fortune's Foundation one is really good, but it has the exact same problem where at some points you're like, there's no, the critical thinking stops and you're just kind of like fucking like sitting there looking around, Whereas with the action puzzle games, because they're real time, they force you to either have good heuristics or they just kill you. There's none of those moments like where you're like fucking where's the next step? They just kill you. You just die and restart. Yeah, and if they're randomized, you just have to, learn good kind of general approaches. And that heuristic part is like, I think as an action player, that appeals to me a lot more than, sitting there and like just kind of like thinking through.
So it's more that
I'm
you have
impatient.
to.
ADHD, dude. That's,
Yeah. So would you say it's more that you have to develop a intuition for the rules rather than like this specific scenario?
Consciously understand, like, rather than like consciously sitting through and thinking, you have to like develop good heuristics and intuitions, and then if you fail to do that, you just die. That's the big thing. Like the thing that annoys me in basically every game is when failure is punished by like tedium, where you're like let's say in Bloodborne, imagine if you ran out of the the wild things. You have to just farm them again. That's fucking boring. It's like just I'd rather just fucking game over at that point, So and the same thing in puzzle games. If you don't have good heuristics, you're often just kind of stuck there, like brute forcing trial and error the solution, Whereas action puzzle games just cut that out, and it's just like good heuristics. But then, of course, the downside of that is that they often feel kind of mindless because they can like. There's only so much complexity you can do if you're making like a real-time puzzle. There's pros and cons. It's not a straight-up upgrade or anything.
Yeah. It's very interesting because have you played The Witness?
No, but I do know about it.
Yeah. So that game is,
and it has like a action puzzle as far as that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So it's like a traditional puzzle game, with puzzles where you can take your time and so on. But if you go for like the secret ending or whatever you want to call it, there's like this section which is on a time limit, and it's playing this. What's the song called? It's like a super famous classical music thing.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's like super fast and like stresses you out a lot. And that's like a really interesting part of the game, because like previously it's been like, oh yeah, these are just like super hard puzzles that you have to think a lot to like solve, and then you get there and it's like, holy crap, I'm on a timer now, I need to be fast. It's like a very interesting dynamic, or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
it's like it's like testing your intuitions rather than
Yeah,
your,
exactly.
critical.
Yeah, because those puzzles are also randomized, I believe.
Yeah,
So they're like different every time.
Yeah, a good friend of mine was like, I wish there was a game that was just that. Yeah, that's why I'm familiar with that stuff. Yeah, I feel like that's like a very different, distinct type of puzzle. Like these puzzle games, these arcade puzzles, they're literally just action games. Ultimately.
Yeah.
They're just a different type of just they're like the fucking action games for people with 90 IQ instead of 70.
Yeah.
Basically,
well,
yeah.
Well, I was about to say, it's very interesting. Mark the Electric Underground, he has this great video talking about like how dumb games are for smart players and smart games are for dumb players. Yeah. I feel like that's
that's something I fucking noticed with design. I guess you guys notice that a lot as well, where they're too smart for their own good. They're like fucking just coming up with these overcomplicated, over-engineered solutions to simple problems that were already fucking fixed ages ago that you could just look at. Yeah, like that's the whole natural thing. It's like you're forcing yourself to be dumb.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm just gonna make this simple physical system instead of like over-engineering it with a million meters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that goes back to what we mentioned earlier though a bit as well, like with the studios and the size, right? Because it becomes harder to do that. Like it's easier if you've made those rules to split it up into multiple people
Make
and
it
departments.
modular.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you like in a game like with a shit ton of attacks, you want stuff to be modular. You want stuff like like if you have a million, you have like let's say 80 attacks, you probably want it to be all in a spreadsheet and just tweak some values somewhere. You know, you don't want to manually test every single attack meticulously. And like for example, super armor, that's like that's like a safety net essentially. It's like because with hit stun you can get infinite loops, you can get stun locks, stuff like that. So super armor is like no matter what the move, the enemy, it'll work in some level.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably a big like influence on developers. I don't know though. I haven't worked in these big studios, so God knows what the fuck is happening there.
Yeah.
No.
One thing that we discuss a lot, and that we've discussed a lot, like especially the last few videos, is designers like obsession with novelty. It's very like they have like this idea that's like quote unquote super cool in theory, and then it doesn't matter how it's implemented whatsoever. Because it's very interesting, because like as I play more games, I like gravitate towards simpler games more and more, because like I feel like it's way more interesting to like explore the depth of like what many people would call a generic action game. You know, when a lot of people who don't play arcade games go back and look at arcade games, they go, "Oh, that game's super simple," or whatever.
Yeah.
And like in their mind, I assume since they're not playing these games that much, like they're not playtesting their games or whatever, they're like, okay, here's this like super cool, novel, high concept, and that's as far as I'm gonna think about that, and then we just implement it.
Well, I feel like once you, ironically, I feel like the novelty starts wearing out after you play enough games, where it's like you go through the learning phase, not like in the terms of gimmicks, but like you go through the learning phase of just like learning all these properties, like meters, stats, stuff like that, and then you kind of like you often at some point you're like, I feel like I've experienced that. I need to skip past that and get to the meat faster. I feel like that's why simpler games are a lot more.
Well, also, you can't, like, if the possibility space is bigger, you can't explore it as well as a designer, for example, right? If there's less options, you can do more interesting things with the options that are there. But if there's like a million things, you can't really make anything interesting because there's too much.
what I was thinking of. Imagine like an action RPG, like Neo or something. But
Yeah.
once you learn all the stuff in it, it just Neo doesn't do this, by the way. But imagine if it turned into like Final Fight. Basically, you use a handful of moves to unlock enemies. You have the most optimized stats. You fight the end game like fucking post game dungeon enemies, and they behave like Final Fight enemies.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe you could have the Final Fight dynamics, but that learning period process just starts feeling like filler after a point. I feel like it's like you're cutting away all these extrinsic elements of the game just to get to the core, and the core is simple. It's always fucking simple. Like it's
Yeah,
rare
yeah.
that you find a game that's like complex after you go through the learning phase, after like that initial learning period. So I feel like that's why like a lot of that complexity starts feeling like like
Oh, right.
yeah,
So
of
you're
course
saying that it's like in the way of the actual core that actually still is simple then.
yeah, the actual
Yeah.
core of the game is simple. It's always going to be like straightforward,
And because they
and it's just
focused on all these like surface level things, the core is actually not as developed as in a
yeah,
game
not
where they
as
focused on
developed.
it.
But
Yeah.
even if it was as developed, then like of course in practice it almost never is. But even if it was as developed, I feel like then the learning phase, like what, why even have it?
Yeah, you
Just
wasted a bunch of
get me to
time,
the
yeah.
core. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like you have to fucking every time you pick up a movie, you have to learn a new language. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah.
Just show me the movie, you know?
for sure.
Yeah, a world without subs, terrifying.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like that's like some philosophy book shit, dude. Where like the guys who are into fucking Hegel and shit, they learn German. It's like goddamn, dude.
Yeah, but you can't have the translator misunderstood him. No.
Yeah, the fucking yeah, the 20 translations, and it's like not a single one got even close.
Yeah.
Didn't even capture like 1/3 of
Mhm.
the meaning. It's yeah, that's basically games. You just fucking have to like just go through a lot of the yeah, the complex learning period, and to get to the meat that you want, and the meat is what you want.
Yeah, yeah. But I still feel like in a lot of like, well, maybe this isn't true, but like a lot of complex games also don't have that much meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like, you go through all this complex bullshit, and then you get to the
And
meat,
then it's
and
like
there's nothing there.
yeah, it's like a wilted rose emoji,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
It's just saying wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, you fucking like the Stranger of Paradise was really funny for me because it's like it has so much shit, and first you're like, whoa, I could do this, I could do this, and then you realize, oh, the game is just either overpowered builds and just fucking killing bosses, like annihilating their stamina, or just sitting. If you're doing like a minimalist build, just like sitting in front of the boss, parry. And it's like, what is their level at that point? I'm just gonna fucking play a rhythm game because that's gonna be more developed. Why the
Yeah.
fuck would I play this shit? Or like a synergy builder, like Slay the Spire or something, you know? Why the fuck would I play Stranger of Paradise at that point? It's like raising your expectations and creating like expectations, and then completely just throwing them in the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like even if you look at like a synergy builder like Slay the Spire, the games that copy Slay the Spire don't try to do anything interesting with the synergy builder formula. They're just adding novelty on top.
Yeah. My favorite example of that is Haste, which is a Sonic kind of inspired platformer. For some fucking reason, they added Slay the Spire structure and synergies to it. It makes zero. It just like literally interrupts the gameplay. Because you'd want something like Outrun, right, where you're like picking routes in the middle of running. You don't want to interrupt the flow.
Oh, so it has
Instead,
like a roguelike map pick
yeah, you
thing?
finish
Oh,
a level
okay.
which is like a minute, right? You run for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then you're like, oh, a shop or like a random event or
Nice.
something like that. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is this, dude? It's impossible to get into the game because it's just constantly interrupting you. Yeah, it's like very surface level. The Slay the Spire elements. Same with a lot of these synergy builders. Like, what the fuck does Absalom get in terms of like what does it make it a better beat 'em up that it has a lot of these like synergy building elements? I don't think so.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But more people buy it because you can do synergies, and they love
no.
synergies.
Exactly, dude. Like a lot of sometimes if you're like talking to mainstream devs or just like checking their interviews, they seem like prisoners, dude. They're like, man, I wish I could make a real game, but the market. Oh no, the market. Oh, the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
some fucking solo dev that's making no money is more free, like a freeze a bird. Where these guys are like in a fucking dungeon.
I don't know though, like a lot of those solo devs, they seem to be chasing the same things.
Yeah, that's true
Yeah.
as well. Yep. Well, it's like one of those things where if you're a dev, now it's like a gold rush period, you know, the gold rush period of dev where everyone's making a lot of money, and you look at your peers. There's some motherfucker that just got lucky and is a millionaire now. And you're
Yeah.
like, God damn it! You're like, it always feels like close, you know, like success feels close. So it's like gold rush shit where you're just screwing everyone, you know, stabbing everyone in the back just to get that nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll get better if games get cheaper, right? If like as sad as it's really, I like the fact that game devs can make a lot of money, but imagine if like game dev was a little bit more like music, where no one could make any fucking money off it, unless they're like massive musicians. At
Oh,
that point, I feel like
Yeah, you're thinking that. So you're saying that if like because they make no money, then there will be more people actually doing real games.
yeah, because then success wouldn't even be an option.
Yeah.
Then be have to be like they'd have to be like, okay, what do I actually want to make?
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of being like, oh, I could just, I'm one hit away from just being Hades or something.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as scary as that idea of like fucking, you know, like the apocalyptic like games, the game borrowing, like Game Pass type shit, right? As apocalyptic as that seems,
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder if like devaluing games might actually make them more artistic. I don't know. Maybe it will be even worse, where they will be even more scummy because you'll have probably still some successes, and they'll be still chasing those like even smaller pool of successes. So who knows? Because think about like the 2008 financial crisis, right, in gaming, where it didn't lead to any kind of like the industry didn't die. It just became shittier. The games
Yeah.
just became shittier. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it feels like, you know, when looking at AAA games, the only games that are selling are like established franchises with big names or remakes,
remakes,
which is
of
the same
course.
thing.
Remakes.
Yeah.
Please.
So like every time AAA studios try to make a new game, they just fail and it flops. And I feel like, you know, we've been seeing the past few years like game studios laying a bunch of people off.
Oh yeah,
but
apparently
honestly,
it's like apparently it's like suicide fuel, dude. Apparently, everything I've heard from like industry people is just like apocalyptic.
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think it's gonna get better soon. I think I'm gonna sound really negative here, but like, like, because AAA studios they don't even know, or well,
I mean, the
They
dev
don't-
cycles are so long; they don't even know how to
Yeah.
make games anymore.
yeah, we were discussing GTA 6 the other week. It's like,
God, dude, that's a fucking abomin. That's a monstrosity.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit, dude. What the fuck?
and it's like super interesting because we discussed this thing. It's like it's possible for like someone to have graduated like school as a game designer and gotten a job in like 2013 when GTA 5 released. And they have worked in the industry for 13 years and not
And
released a
only
single
made-
game.
Yeah,
They've
Yeah.
only
yeah,
worked on
Jesus
GTA
Christ.
6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, yeah, I was talking about this the other day with a friend, where it's like just on the arcades, right? You had like you not only had that quick game release, because like Final Fight took a year.
Yeah.
God Hand took a year, which was fucking crazy to me. Like all these games, like all these arcade games, they took a few months to a year, and you had these new recruits basically kind of study as apprentices under experienced designer, and you had like a lot of games coming out, a lot of developers getting a lot of experience really fast in this really competitive environment where everyone was trying to make a competitive environment, simple environment, which is important. I think like with simple games, like what we're talking about, simple games are also good for teaching you stuff because you actually focus directly on the dynamics. You don't have to like like they don't bullshit you. Basically, they don't bullshit you. If you're learning something, you don't want to fucking be lied to by a bunch of mechanics that create false expectations. But yeah, like simple games, games that rewarded balance and challenge, and it's like that magic mix where it's like a lot of games, a lot of balanced games, a lot of difficult games, a lot of simple games, and it's like they're making the exact kind of games that I feel like are good for learning game design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now it's like, you you could make it one game for 10 years. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, and it's especially like if you look at like big AAA studios, it's actually insane. Because like, for example, I know a person who is an artist on a AAA game, and they only make vegetation. And it's like
the specialization
Yeah.
has gotten crazy, dude.
yeah, it's like, so they spend like 10 years making a game, and you have like this artist who spends 10 years making like plants and stuff for the game. Like, they don't know how to make a game. Like, obviously the games are
Yeah.
gonna be shit if that's like how the studios are run.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
have
it's-
that shit for mechanics as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. And
Yeah.
yeah, like back in the arcade days, you're a fucking artist. No, you're not. You're a game designer now. Go fucking
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the dungeon. It just happened all the time. Now it's the programmers like, oh yeah, you're designing all the moves.
Yeah.
Good luck. It's like, what do you mean? I wanted to fucking make an engine. No, you're designing. You're balancing this hitbox, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's-
And now it's just so compartmentalized and specialized. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it works against each other too, because I was looking at the new Wolverine game, and he did like this kind of like jumping dash attack type of thing, like just forward jump and slash. And you in a normal game, in a fucking normal game, that would just be a forward motion. But now, probably because the animators and the fucking programmers are just like wrestling for control, he gets sucked sideways
Nice.
to the fucking enemy, just like
Nice.
bends his whole
Yeah.
trajectory. It fucks up the whole animation, because
Yeah.
the animation, you no longer feel the weight behind it and the force behind it, because it just fucking bends. He sucks sideways. He
Yeah.
fucking lateral suck, dude. Just how it is.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that game. I should check it out, because it's made by
It's
No,
Insomniac, right?
It's
Yeah.
Insomniac.
The Spider-Man
Yeah.
games have that issue as well, where fucking Spidey's doing some shit and he gets sucked laterally,
Yeah. You
Oh
did
yeah,
a
when
video
he,
on that,
when
right?
he swings the nets and he like turns. Yeah.
It's
I don't know,
and it fucks the animations. It just completely ruins them.
Yeah.
At that point, you're just fucking looking at that, and you're like, where's the weight? Where's the motion?
Yeah.
Where's the linear anything? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, no, it was when he landed, I think. He like stays in the air and then it like
he
lurks
he,
out.
like-
It looks awful.
Yes. He like it's like the collision hitbox lands, but
Yeah.
the legs take a while to
Yeah.
like lerp into.
It looks
into
so
position.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you watch like these combo videos, high level play, and it's just like fucking lerp fest. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
one state hasn't even started, and he's already like trying to fucking bend his arm into the other state. It's like, what the fuck am I looking at? You watch the
Yeah.
older games, like Snap, one state, another state, just everything's snappy, everything's clean, everything's fucking awesome. And then and now it's just like a clusterfuck. And I'm sure if you gave the main artists full control, they wouldn't do that shit. I feel like
Yeah.
they would coordinate it better, because they wouldn't want their animations to get butchered like this.
Yeah, well, that's like, I obviously don't know how that went down, but like, to me that's very clear. Like, it's like, okay, the programmers were like, okay, let's make this epic animation lerping system with
Yeah.
inverse kinematics or whatever, and then they implemented that without checking with the artists, and then the artists made their animations, and it ended up looking like shit because like they don't talk to each other, and there's like there's no.
Yeah, it's even worse
Go.
because back in the day, like in the older games, you'd have an artist, you'd have a program. Now it's like fucking like technical artly,
Yeah.
locomotion engineer, some bullshit like that. It's like, what the fuck? How many layers is this fucking animation going through, dude?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
we
they're
were-
disconnected from the, like you said, like when the artists also do the game design, well, then they get a feel for that as well,
Yeah.
right? They connect
Yeah,
that
and-
with the moves.
yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
they're
if it's like
designing
a-
the move in an ether or whatever.
Yeah, if it's like a 12-person company, the artist will fucking barge into the programmer's office and start choking
Yeah.
him if he sees that shit. Nowadays, the artist is locked into like in a like probably a different fucking country,
Yeah.
in a dungeon somewhere.
Yeah.
Programmers locked in another dungeon somewhere, just like remote islands.
But I feel like that's a thing with other animations as well. Like we've talked about like menus and game over screens and stuff a lot, and I feel like they've also they're very disconnected from the game a lot of the time, where they're getting in the way because like they're being over designed or whatever, to the point where they're wasting time that you could just keep
the
playing.
UX designers, designers racking up those
Yeah,
work
yeah.
hours, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually talked about this. Like, it was
Well,
like.
aren't Aren't the UX
Yes, sir.
designers usually like contractors?
Maybe. I don't know actually.
They might literally be racking up hours, dude. They might be fucking adding this.
Yeah. Yeah, but it goes back to this thing where it's like they're working on this game for 8 years. If you're a UX designer who's like tasked with making the main menu of a game or whatever, you don't need to spend 8 years doing that. That takes like a few months maybe, if it's a very like fancy game.
I mean, if you go back in time, it was like, Bob the programmer, can you fix the menu that no one wants to do? And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he put up like a list of text.
And if you ever have a UX guy, that motherfucker is gonna be working on like, I don't know, dialogue boxes or God knows what. They're gonna put him on sound effects for some reason.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a really funny story. Me and Edward know someone who like has spoken to or works with UX designers, not for games but for like apps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the metrics that they use to see if their design works or not is how many times a button is clicked. So like, if the user is pressing around, clicking around because they're lost, that's good according to their stats.
That was probably the guiding philosophy behind Darkest Dungeon 2 menus.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh god, that game. No.
the menus there. What the fuck? Dude, I haven't played PC games in a while, right? And I recently played Darkest Dungeon 2. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's like you fucking go through one menu, it requires a click, the other one you hold for some reason. The menu fucking elements just migrate between screens. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I feel like that, to tie it back into the game design, it like, you can see that in the game design as well, quite a lot. Like, especially, maybe not especially, but I see it a lot, once again, because I play a lot of CS, and, you see that with competitive multiplayer games. They are so, like, stats driven. It's like, oh yeah, we tweaked the damage of this weapon by 0.02 to make it slightly better so that it isn't OP anymore or whatever. And that's like, the games end up being like completely, what do you want to say? Like completely boring because everything is just like perfectly balanced.
Now they're balancing shit with stats, right? Now you're just looking at like use rates, like kill, like just looking at stats, and it's like, how do you get anything but kind of like averaged out, homogenized stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, if you look at any kind of like older competitive game that stood the test of time, there's always like meta shifts happening as people learn more and more, and there's natural balancing. Even the fact that you can, if a strat is used too much, people just learn to like they adapt to it, they get used to it, and it becomes less powerful over time. It's like it's like completely natural balancing that happens over time.
There's actually a really funny story from Counter-Strike. Have you ever heard about like the period where the AUG was OP, like instead of the M4? No, so basically they had like buffed the AUG for like very slightly every now and then for like a few years or whatever, because no one was using it, so they like kept buffing it a little bit. And then like nobody still played it because it's like it's the noob gun with the sight or whatever, right? So no one wants to pick it because it's lame. And then they, in an update, they reduced the price by like $100 or something, which is like a very tiny amount. Which that caused people to actually try the AUG out because no one was playing it. And they realized that, holy crap, the AUG is OP and has been OP for like 3 years and no one has used it.
And no one even noticed. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And that shit won't be reflected in the stats at all. It's like mimetic, It's like,
Yeah, and so like after that they like patched the AUG down to hell, so it sucks again.
Hell yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's really funny that no one barely anyone noticed.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, but that's like the like main problem I have with a lot of modern competitive games is that like they tend to be overbalanced somehow, because like most of the time games are not balanced enough, right? Because it's like you can do some really lame strat and it's super easy or whatever. But like for competitive games, they are like way overbalanced, and they should just like let things be for a while and see how
between
they
single player and multiplayer, you mean? Like
I feel like I feel like I feel like when we talk about balancing there's like a linguistic confusion thing happening, because what people often think balancing, it's like tweaking numbers, tweaking like little sizes,
Yeah.
a little bit. They're kind of like tuning shit. But then if you think about like balance broadly, there's that what's it called, transitive versus non-transitive balance. Do you guys know that?
No. Actually.
It's like a mathematical term. I'm too stupid for this shit. But the basically, it's like the transitive relations are when it's like rock paper scissors, where the different elements cancel each other, like counter each other, right? Whereas non-transitive stuff, one element wins out or something like that. I don't fucking know. But basically, it's like RPS balancing versus just
Yeah.
non-RPS balancing, where something clearly wins out. And it's like balancing consists of two things. It's like tuning stuff, so it's more widely used, and that's not as important. But then the important part is like the counters, the
Yeah.
creating counterplay, creating like RPS dynamics, so everything has a counter. And if everything has a counter, then I feel like games balance themselves out naturally over time. You only run into problems if there's something has no counter.
Yeah, because then it doesn't matter that this thing is 10% better than that thing, because that other thing is very good against that thing. So
yeah, it just doesn't have a proper counter.
Yeah.
And it's like if you focus too much on the numbers, then like it just makes stuff kind of homogenous and boring. Whereas if it's just counters and creating more counters, and that just complicates game. That creates more dynamics.
It might even be more interesting that it's not balanced, actually, because then you'll have the dynamic where one, if it's like characters or whatever, is more powerful than the other character. But the risk is that the counter is also way better against that character. So maybe you don't want to go for that character or whatever.
Yeah, that's why stuff like Street Fighter 2 and shit, well, Super Turbo, not the original release, certainly not the original release. That's why like it stands up so like crazy well, because even if shit isn't balanced, everything has a counter. Everything, there's no like, there's always shit you can do. There's always shit you can do, no matter how ridiculously skewed it is in one player's favor.
Yeah.
That's a lot more interesting than just tweaking some fucking numbers to like making the properties so minor and lame that people just don't pick it.
Yeah, I think once again there's an interesting Counter-Strike example here, because you have the AWP, which like as far as I know, for the last 10 years, Valve has been nerfing that weapon. And it's never been OP, and it's never been underpowered. It's always like it's a situationally very, very good weapon. And like the only thing that like nerfing has done is it has made it slightly less multi-purpose, or whatever you want to call it. So it's like it's more situational. That's all that's happened. But in that situation, it's very, very good still, and it's still used all the time.
That's pretty good, at least. Way to balance it, where it's like contextual.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Yeah, because the thing is like right. So with the op, you have like you shoot, and then there's like a slight delay before you can shoot again. And that makes it really easy to trade you, right? So if two people peek you at the same time, you're fucked with an op, right? And so because of that, the op has never been OP. Like despite the fact that it used to be like way better.
Doesn't
before.
it also cost a lot? I remember from
it does. So yeah, it has that balancing layer as well. But like even though it is, I don't think it's technically the most expensive weapon in the game. Is it? I don't remember, because I think there's like some useless weapons.
I think it's definitely up there.
Yeah, but I think there's like an LMG that sucks is more expensive, but I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, so like even despite the fact that you have the like the cost balancing it, it's still it's not like you want to pick the AWP all the time because it's the most expensive and best weapon. Like it's still situationally useful.
Pros and cons, Pros and cons. Even though, that's another good example of like the natural versus artificial layer, where it's like if you only have the natural layer, then you can only like you have like a ridiculously overpowered move, and you can only gate access to it. That would be like the money balancing the cost. Whereas if you build pros and cons into the actual move, where it's like even if you can use it, even if you're like in a good position to use it, you will still have a solid reason not to. And that's like the sauce right there.
Yeah,
I think multiplayer games are generally better about that shit. With fucking goddamn dude, fucking single player games, unbelievable. At least multiplayer games, there's like some semblance. They're trying to build pros and cons. There was an interview with the Shinobi Art of Vengeance developers, right? And there's
yeah.
two teams, right? There's the main one, and apparently there's some like Sega team that they brought in. Like, and the Sega team, they're talking about like we're used to making competitive multiplayer games, so we can only think of moves like having like pros and cons and like trade-offs. Everything needs to have like risk and that type of stuff. And but then the French team, the main team, told them to not do that because quote
Nice.
unquote shouldn't feel static. And they're like, okay, well we did that, but then we realized that nothing we could do would challenge the player anymore. We tried to make levels, and the levels wouldn't work. So what they ended up fucking doing is they ended up adding like the color-coded attacks to prevent your overpowered moves like
Nice.
dodges, iframe dodges from working. So it's like you brought on the multiplayer developers who are already thinking in those proper terms, and then you fucking ruined everything. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some other review with or an interview with one of the leads there. It was a bit depressing to listen to, actually.
Oh, the one where it's like, oh, I like older games, but
yeah, that
new
one.
games better in every way.
Yes, that one.
Like the French, dude. The French.
Yes.
They're becoming the retro nemesis for some reason.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I kind of want to touch on that as well, like going back to arcade stuff a bit. Like, what like I try to at the moment I try to play a lot of shmups, and I like try to scout out, I don't know, like indie shmups or whatever.
Yeah.
But like even in that space, I feel like people are also averse to this. Like, for example, like if I play Gunvein, like the game is very intense immediately and like interesting and fun, right? But a lot of these games, they're just like, there's not, I don't know. It feels like
Because they're fucking doing the modern design shit. They're like,
yeah,
well,
maybe
how
that's
can-
just it.
It's
Yeah,
like, you know what it is? It's like they treat the design of the games like the core, the meat, the sauce. They treat that as solved. They're like, oh, Cave already pushed these games as far as they can come, as far as they can go. So all we can do is just kind of like introduce. It's like the holy book has been written, and all they
Right.
can do at this point is just like proselytize. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's their views as designers. They're not like trying to actually iterate. Is the problem? I feel
But
like, yeah, like
I feel like they are, like, or at least they when they talk about it, it seems like they're talking about this, like adding these mechanics on top, right? But when you play, it's actually not that interesting because the core stuff is actually not that well made. So you have this gimmick or whatever of something, and that's on top of a not that
it's even
stable
worse.
base or
It's even
whatever.
worse. Like Revel Gear Zero, there's a new
Yeah.
new game, and that's like the core is decent, but then the gimmick fucking ruins it because
Right.
then it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
swallows everything up. Yeah, it's even worse. Or yeah, like just the core is underdeveloped and the gimmick is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like the developers just need to be more confident and think of themselves as like continuing what arcade devs did instead of just instead
Yeah.
of like just being teachers, because that's not interesting. Like I even fell into this problem with Gunvein where it's like I would want to develop it more. Like, for example, the expert mode is not nearly as difficult enough as I want it to be.
Oh, really?
Stuff like that.
That's yeah.
Yeah, it's like because if you think about like Saidaojo or Mushi Vitari
Yeah.
Ultra, right? Saidaojo expert with the Imbachi.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you people think, oh, those are like peak, those are like crazy. But if you look at them, they're not like, for example, Saidaojo expert. It's crazy hard clear, but it's not fucking insane until you get to the TLB. But imagine
Yeah.
if a whole game was like just the TLB level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. There's so much to build. There's so much room to build.
Yeah.
There's also different skills you could test. Like Gunsmoke was just not iterated upon at all.
Right.
Like it's just this one game that existed, and that game is more like a kind of like a hybrid of beat 'em up and shmup dynamics, where you're managing enemies and misdirecting them and just like keeping track of them. Yeah, stuff like that. And that's a unique skill that shmups don't really test much.
Yeah.
And that's there's a lot of stuff to develop. It's just I feel like the developers are just too they have like this weirdly conservative view.
I don't know. It's so strange to me though, because I feel like shmups are the perfect genre to do those kinds of experiments in, because it's so like
that's why I don't
cheap.
think it's
I
like
guess is not the right word, but like there's less stuff like compared to bigger games, right? So you can do more crazy shit.
It's like it's more exactly. It's like because a lot of shmup devs, they don't exactly expect to make a big profit.
Yeah,
or anything
exactly.
like that. So might as well, take the risk. But that's why I think it's like a mentality thing. It's like they just feel like the genre is either solved or like it's beyond their understanding. Like they can't like
Well,
make cave tier games, so they can only kind of do like a beginner
Yeah.
filter type
yeah.
of thing.
Doesn't it also go back a little bit to this like novelty thing where it's like they think that they are like furthering the genre or whatever, but what they're actually doing is they're adding a bunch of bullshit mechanics on top, right?
With a
Yeah,
lot of other
maybe.
devs, yeah, but with shmup, well, except your shmup devs, but with like
Yeah.
with like proper arcade
Yeah,
influence
that's true.
shmup, I
Yeah.
feel like they are honest. It's just like literally like I called it like a genre with manic depression or something.
Hmm.
That's what it feels like. Where just like developers, they're lacking confidence. They're lacking kind of like the drive. I don't know.
Yeah, but
It's
I feel
kind of
like a lot of them are
understandable.
also like focusing on they're talking about this new player experience and
Yeah,
oh, we're gonna get all these people coming here, and it's like they're not gonna, if you're trying to mimic the things the other games are doing in a shmup, that's gonna be less interesting if you don't expand
yeah,
on like the core shmup stuff, right? Because that's
exactly.
all there is in a
And
shmup. It's very
yeah,
basic if you remove that.
and if you talk to like players who stuck around for ages, they're not attracted because of like beginner modes.
Yeah,
They're attracted
exactly.
because they saw fucking Mushi Futari Ultra
Yeah,
hardest boss ever YouTube video, and they're like, "Whoa, this!" It's like they saw that and they're like, I want to experience this shit." Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And I think, in my mind, that would, like, sure, it wouldn't make shmups the most uh, popular genre in the universe, but I
Yeah.
feel like that would still be more interesting to a new
Yep.
player if
Well, the
it
thing
has a
is,
good presentation, of course, and like
yeah,
good
well, that's the
audio
thing.
and
Yeah,
visuals and
that's
stuff.
what I was about to say. Where it's like all that effort, just put that shit into presentation. Because
Yeah,
you look at Drainus, you look at Blade Reboot. Are they like crazy amazing games? I think they're like Devil Blade is pretty good, but
yeah,
Drainus I thought it was kind of like meh. But they have amazing presentation. As a result, everyone fucking loves them.
yeah,
Everyone bought them. Everyone played them. So as long as the presentation's good, I feel like people will just pay attention.
for
Because that's
sure.
the you know that's the big part of the appeal, and it's not a compromise. I don't think for most people presentation would be a compromise. Like, well, I made the exact game I wanted, and I made it look good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
people
sounds
confuse
pretty
like
good. Yeah,
compromise with workload, but I don't think that like the presentation might take more work than like these fucking easy modes, the campaign structures, that type of shit. But it's more it's like more I don't know, not honest work, but just more fulfilling work, I guess. It doesn't
yeah,
feel like a compromise in any way.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. All
Definitely.
this talk about shmup presentation has me thinking of what's the game? The really ugly game. I forget the name. That
Really ugly
released.
game. Side Warrior
That. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That game looked not great.
Yeah, Psyword 3 looks brutal, dude.
Yeah.
That looks fucking rough.
I'm sure the game is fun. It just doesn't look
Yeah.
that.
I haven't played
It
it,
has
so.
it has it's pretty good, but it has a lot of issues. It actually falls into a lot of the same shit, like a lot of the like content brain stuff. Because for example, it has
Mhm.
I believe something like 10 ships or like 8 ships.
Oh
Oh
no.
crap.
Okay.
And Psy Warrior is not a game where you want that, because for example, the core gimmick of Psy Warrior is grazing bullets to get iframes and level ups, and the level ups actually increase your power level. So you want something
Okay.
really solid and like kind of like easy to balance, so you can really finally balance the whole thing. Because otherwise, yeah, you have like these ridiculous amount of variance with ships, a ridiculous amount of DPS variance, a ridiculous amount of speed variance, that type of shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that benefits the Psy Warrior style. But basically, someone made this to show that this is about Sonic Wings Reunion, but I feel like this applies to a lot of Sonic
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the presentation stuff. The thing that fucks with me, dude. Why don't more people use pre-rendered 3D? Cave did it. The fucking Takumi did. Every developer in the arcades in the 90s did that shit. Everyone's like doing hand-drawn pixel art, but it's just so time-consuming for a solo dev. It's crazy.
Well, actually, like even normal 3D, I feel like
Yeah.
is fairly like like there's a lot of tools out there, right? So you can get fairly good lighting in 3D engines and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
For free.
Avoid that like fucking just collection of incoherent assets.
Yeah,
feel.
yeah,
Like for
for
example,
sure, yeah.
Danmaku Unlimited 4.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah,
pretty good.
exactly.
This has
Yeah,
a consistent color scheme. Yeah.
yeah, like he's got a lot of like light particles and lights and stuff, right?
Articles, yeah,
Yeah.
and the whole game has that like kind of bluish,
Yeah, exactly.
purplish tone.
Yeah.
Gives it a style. Yeah.
Yeah, for me as well, like we've talked about this on the podcast here as well. I have an issue with like I desperately want higher frame rates as well on shmups.
Oh yeah, that's
and,
yeah. Well,
and
Cyberpunk 3 has a 120, 144 mode.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's big game, dude.
But like if you do too low res pixel art, that actually there's like a limit on, because the speed is capped, right? On how slow you can go depending on the pixels, if that makes sense.
Well, you would, because now in engines you would do sub-pixel movement, right?
Sure, yeah, but that's not gonna look as smooth as if it's high res.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So like that's, for me, that's another reason to do higher res as well.
Yeah, and like fucking cave ports do all that. Do that
Yeah, they
shit.
do high res. Yeah.
So just high res.
Yeah, I mean you can do pre-render, obviously. Yeah, I'm talking about the like chunky pixel art, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because then you get that smushy look, like, and it gets really bad on higher frame rates as well. Because then you lose, like, you need to. I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like conservatism and design consider. It's like in these spaces, which I don't know. I don't like, and there's that whole thing. It's like a few steps removed from that whole fucking retro scene, which I fucking hate. I hate the general retro scene, dude.
Yeah.
Like the whole like, oh, this is a game you like on the Genesis now, and it's like the biggest fucking pile of shit port ever that doesn't fucking need to exist at all.
Yep.
And it's like people are like jerking off over like the garbage made with fucking AI assets. Like, oh, remember this title? Remember this title? There's no will to even evolve this shit. It's just pure nostalgia. I fucking hate that whole scene, dude. It's like it's like just kind of like a crib. They're making the little crib with toys surrounding themselves and like, oh, this franchise.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Another thing with that I find really interesting and that I want to hear your opinion on is like I feel like since shmups are in general like a bit, I don't know, I don't want to say harder, but like it takes more to get into, right?
Yeah.
They need more tools for practicing, and I like no dev is basically giving enough practice options, I feel like. So it's ironically the old games that like the classics are the best ones to start with anyways, because you have like save states and stuff, so you can actually practice. So if I wanted to, let's say I hadn't ever played shmups and I wanted to start today, I can't really play the new games because they don't have sufficient practice options. Like it's gonna take me 10 to 100 times longer to beat them, right? If they're not the easy mode ones, obviously, right?
Yeah, I feel like some games got better about that, but yeah, it's still a problem. But the thing is, like with save states, it's like killing two birds with one stone, because if these games implement save states, they can also implement rollback netplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they could have like that fucking multiplayer going. That's another thing that is good. That's not, it's not a compromise. That would be a really cool addition.
And I mean, I get it that it's obviously technically hard, but
yeah,
you could add like more sections of the map in your practice mode or whatever, right?
Yes, you can have the fucking Saideojo thing where it's like a 20-second intro.
Yes,
or
yes.
30 seconds. Suicide Fuel. Yeah. That's
like, before the intro.
Yeah, and just with save states, I feel like all it takes is some people to make like tutorials for shmup devs, and everyone will be like, "Oh, I guess I can do that." It's like one of those things where it's like a mental. Because I'm like that too. I don't know how the fuck to make like save states and rollback netcode because I'm not good enough at programming. But I'm gonna try learning that hopefully this year. So, but yeah, like once people make solid tutorials for that shit, I feel like everyone will just implement them immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's being more strict about where you put all the state in the game. So
Yeah.
it does like make. I guess it doesn't make things harder, but
It's like if
yeah.
you plan it right
yeah,
away.
you need to
it
plan
shouldn't-
ahead. Yeah, from the beginning,
If you're
basically. Yeah.
if you don't want to implement it in mid-development, good luck.
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Yeah, and also like obviously all these engines and different hardwares makes it harder as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, but you would want different. Yeah, you want like tutorials for different engines and that type of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, hopefully someone will do it. Hopefully someone will do it because I'll watch that shit. I'll fucking be taking notes myself.
Shit, maybe we should do it.
Yeah,
then.
maybe we should.
Do
Yeah,
it, do it.
don't
Go
do a
for it,
game
yeah.
maker rollback thing, maybe.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Literally do it. Yeah,
yeah, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, because there's a lot of fucking good programmers and but they're just like fiddling with patterns or some shit. They're like fiddling with pattern engines or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, well,
pattern
that's like,
engines. Oh my god. Yeah. Go ahead. Louis.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like that's like as a programmer, that's like a typical programmer thing. Programmers love like fiddling with shit.
Yeah.
The common thing is like, how can I get the most amount? How can I optimize the fucking bullets?
Yeah.
How can I
Yeah.
get like 10 million bullets with no slowdown?
Yeah.
Basically, that's like the
Yeah, oh my,
pipeline
that's
of
so
shmup
funny.
programming.
Like I see that all the time. Yeah, they talk about how, and I don't know how the cave probably had like 200 bullets max on the screen or something, right?
Yeah, it's not that.
So it's like, why? What is this discussion even about, right? It's
Yeah, and the way they bounce it, you know how they bounce, right? We're optimized it.
yeah, the like
Well,
the frame is collision every other frame.
Yeah,
or
they
whatever.
would
Yeah,
alternate collisions
Yeah.
between different frames. Yeah, it was and not even check every frame sometimes. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's not even like but the programmers are like, no, this is going to be the most perfect optimized bullet.
Yeah, but
implementation
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, and also even the ones that do that a lot of the time, it's like, look, I got like they have a number, and it's like, cool, you do that in a loop, and it's gonna be faster anyway. Like their systems is not even fast, is my point. So they have over-engineered these systems to be fast, and then they're not actually fast at all.
And we got to put them in the rollback tutorial dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 million bullets rollback in Game Maker.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
1 million states being passed around.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have anything other you wanted to cover, Ludwig?
No, I think we've we've gone through the spectrum of a lot of things. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone through
yeah.
quite a few things.
yeah. Do you have anything you want to say,
Yeah.
Boghog?
Let me think. There's probably something I've been fucking mulling over lately. That, yeah, go play the Hyper Bun Buster demo. That's by
Oh yeah,
my
yeah,
good
yeah.
friend, good friend Cass. That will have rollback net play.
Yeah,
It'll have
that
rollback
looks sick,
co-op
actually.
and hopefully battle mode. Yeah, and go
Nice.
play Loruna, which is a legit Ghost and Goblins type of game.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I saw you posting about that. I think. Yeah.
Exactly. There we go. There we go. Some promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go play Boghog's games. They're good.
Of course,
Yes.
yeah, obviously. Come on. If you're into the real shit, you gotta play.
Yeah.
You gotta play. Okay, yeah, hopefully I'll. From now on, it's just I'm on that fucking finishing games grind instead of the starting micro games or demos grind. Hate that.
Cool.
Hate that.
Yeah. Well, we did get caramel action out of it, so
Well,
True.
hopefully you'll get a full caramel action with online co-op, because that's what I want to do. That's why I want to learn rollback net play to have like co-op and caramel action. Because I don't want to
we
like
need to get that going then if we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm fucking saying, dude. Yeah, because I've been thinking like, if I'm gonna make this, do I do a campaign? But no, that sucks, right? It's like that feels like too much of a compromise. I'd rather just add co-op, because that's something casuals love. My girlfriend got really into Overcooked 2. Have you guys played that?
I know.
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh yeah,
played the
well,
first
it's
one.
like an arcadey cooking game,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
usually it's not something she would play because she's like into Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing,
Mhm.
but all of a sudden she's fucking playing an arcadey action game that if I co-op with her, she just starts yelling at me because I'm too fucking slow at it because she's gotten too good. Yeah, but and then I was like thinking like obviously the theme attracted her, but then the other thing is like she's playing co-op, and that gives her a reason to actually get good and pushes
Yeah.
past the
Mhm.
yeah. Same with like stuff like Peak, stuff like that.
Mhm.
The friend slob genre.
Yeah.
So you know, if there's going to be some kind of like features added that will attract people, I think co-op, PvP modes, and better visuals are the way to go. Instead of like the fucking easy modes, novice, like 20 arrange modes, 20 novice modes, easy modes,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
checkpoint modes. Like you boot up a game, you're like, what the? You gotta like, I gotta pull up a wiki just to know what the fuck to play here.
Yeah.
That is an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people
Yeah.
aren't even like they don't agree with each
Yeah,
other.
they don't agree
Yeah.
which one is the correct one either.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, is this a good beginner mode? God knows. Like, you gotta fucking join a Discord to settle that issue.
Yeah.
It's probably not even gonna get settled either.
You need to beat the game before you know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the it gets good 20 hours in thing,
Yeah.
basically. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's just it feels like bloat. It feels like just like unfocused on just like unfocused on whatever. Just bloat.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Boghog. This
anytime.
has been a
Yeah.
pleasure.
It was awesome, man. It was good fun.
Yeah. And I hope everyone who's watching enjoyed it. As always, leave a comment, subscribe, like, and all that. And join our Discord. There's a link in the description.
Yeah, and check out Boghog stuff. I'll put everything in the description.
Yes.
Peace.
So,
Yeah.
goodbye.
Bye bye.